Long ago, a farmer walked into the forest in search of a cow that had wandered from his herd. Deep within, he came across the most beautiful woman he had ever seen, standing completely naked, with long, flowing hair. She beckoned him. Although he was married, he could not resist the temptation, and they made love right there in the forest. He could not stop thinking about her, and returned to the same place the next evening to find her again, and as before, they made love. They repeated this meeting every night from then on, but the lady in the forest never allowed the farmer to see her from behind. After a while, the farmer began to feel drained, but he still could not help himself from returning to the forest every night. He could never resist the woman. He eventually decided that he could not go on any longer. He had no energy left. He was so exhausted that he could barely walk anymore. During one of his visits, he asked the woman if she could give some advice for a bull he was having trouble with.
All the bull does is mount cows all day. He's completely exhausted and drained. What would you suggest?
The herbs, tibast and venderot. That will solve your problem.
The farmer gathered the herbs and pinned them onto himself before visiting the forest the following night. As he drew closer, the woman called out,
Tibast and venderot are sure. Fie on me for telling the cure.
She turned and fled, and the farmer saw her from behind for the first time. She had a tail, and her back was hollowed out like an old tree. He returned home, finally free of her hold on him, sure that he would have been drained of his entire life force if he had continued. The woman moved from this area to Tiveden, a large park in Sweden. One day she watched a boy fishing who was having bad luck. He turned and saw her, struck by her beauty.
Hello,
she said. He was speechless. He then noticed a tail sticking out below her clothing and realized who she was. He had heard tales of the Skogsrå, the lady of the forest, and now he knew that she was real. He knew that you were not to mention her tail, and so politely said, "Milady, I see that your petticoat shows below your skirt."
thank you.
The lady responded.
Maybe you should continue your fishing on the other side of the lake.
The boy nodded and did so. For the rest of the day he caught fish every time he cast his line. This was a gift from the Skogsrå, to thank the boy for his politeness. The Skogsrå had decided that she wanted to marry, and while on her way through Sigdal in Norway, she meets a young man. She tells him,
If you can keep me a secret, then I swear I will marry you 1 year from now.
For the next year he does nothing but brag of his engagement and the beauty of his bride-to-be. When he returns to her, she reveals her tail and proceeds to beat him with it, hitting him over his ears again and again, until he not only loses his hearing, but his wits for the rest of his life. Eventually, the Skogsrå met a farmhand, and they decided to marry. At the wedding ceremony, after the vows, the priest lay his hands upon her and she could feel her tail and the hollow of her back fading away, as well as the facade of her beauty, revealing her true, hideous form. But the marriage vows were sacred. Her husband felt tricked and began to treat her badly. One day, while he was making horseshoes, she marched up to him and grabbed one, still red hot from the forge, and bent it straight with her bare hands, as a sign of her strength. This threat worked, and the husband treated her well from then on.